Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. October 17th, 2016, Convention and Visitor Bureau Advisory Board. This group has not met since a little bit of reorganization and some board member transition, so we do not currently have a chair. So I'll help out for the time being. We don't have anyone signed up for public comments. Moving on to item 3, approval of previous minutes from July 18th, 2016.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded to approve minutes from July 18th, 2016. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, thank you very much. Let's introduce our new members, item 4. We should probably go ahead and do a general introduction. Of course, we've got Mayor Gentling and Councilwoman Paget. She's not here right now. I think she's still coming back from a trip to Albuquerque, but Mayor and Councilwoman Paget serve as ex officio members. Dan Newton, you joined us in 2015, is that right?
That's right.
James Long was a part of the original group who was formed and was the only one selected for a 3-year term by random draw. Jason Smedley is brand new. Mike Monahan, brand new. Kathy Cordes, of course, you joined us in 2015 with Dan, and H.C. Patel, brand new. So welcome aboard. Thank you guys very much for volunteering your time, spending time with us instead of your families. So it's always nice to get to work together and move forward on some new things. So moving on to item number 5, discussion and possible action to nominate a board chair. Debbie Prather was our board chair for the past two budget years. She decided not to renew her membership with this board and wanted to turn it over. So I just wanted to open it up to you guys and let a discussion. You don't have to make a decision right now or tonight, but just wanted to at least put it on the table and kind of go from there.
Well, I think with tenure and experience and the activity that he brings into the community, I think James Long would be a great board chair.
I agree. Anybody else interested? I mean, I'll do it. I'd be happy to.
Arm wrestle.
Yeah.
When does your term come out?
We formed this in the fall, I believe, so I've got one, this is my last year.
Yep, you'll need to renew next August, September timeframe.
But since it's a new board,
It's
Well,
not,
no,
it's not an
it's-
entirely new board.
okay, so the requirements still stand.
Yep,
So the new members coming on are 3-year
3-year terms. Yep. And we just did that random draw the first time when we formed the board just to make it as fair as possible. 3 members drew 1-year terms, 3 members drew 2-year terms, and then 1 member drew a 3-year term, and that was James Long. I didn't mention him earlier, but Justin Forting's also on this board, and this will be the start of his second year in his second term.
I just know that James has seen the transitions that have transpired with the committee itself. He's seen a lot of things that have gone on with the community, and he's responsible for a lot of those things that have gone on. And
Certainly.
Certainly. I'll make a motion to nominate James Long as board chair.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to nominate Mr. Long as CVB board chair. I'm at the wrong meeting right now. I'm at the wrong meeting right now. Motion and second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
thank you.
I can turn it over to you right now if you'd
Change
like.
chairs.
All right. You want to change chairs?
I think we're fine.
We'll get you the gavel at the
I'm
next
equally
meeting.
visible, I think, in this
Okay.
occasion. All right, so next item on the agenda is discussion of current budget. I don't see anything here.
It should be the last page of your packet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do see something here.
I put it in the last page just so I can say definitively where it's at. We can do a quick rundown Our marketing supplies, we have already taken $2,500 out of that because of our contract with Lazy E. We do a 10-year or a $10,000 annual agreement for sponsorship with Lazy E and quarterly payments. So our quarterly payment was due.
So that's what we see here on this
Yes,
line item?
yes. That's the only thing that we have spent so
So
far.
on the, where we're looking at, so the very far left-hand column is what we budgeted, but where it says current period actual, that's what we spent.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And of course, really what is, I guess, applicable to this group is everything above where we see the 65-45 account. That's where, you know, hotel motel is obviously split 2/3 tourism and 1/3 parks. And so that kind of gets into a little bit more of the smaller details there. But this is kind of everything above that 65-45 and the bold line above that is kind of what we have to operate with. $65,415 for marketing, a $75 line item for printing, especially events. That's kind of where I want to start breaking it down. We had kind of put together a rough number of $25,000 in event support for special events, and then kind of taking a little bit of ownership of creating new events through this board and through the staff dedicated to support this board. And so $6,000 to kind of be a little bit more hands-on and creating a event destination, not just supporting them financially, but coming up and programming new events as well. Professional services, that is where we're going to pay for the OSU tourism survey. And then a line item for conventions and trade shows, which is new to the budget this year.
Do we have any particular conventions or trade shows lined out or earmarked that we'd like to see attendance in? Or?
We don't have those dedicated right now. We do have opportunities through Frontier Country Marketing Association, which we're a member, to where they put together special call trips and events outside of their typical packet and booklet. There's always new events coming up throughout the year, but typically there are, I think, 8 or 9 different ones scheduled on an annual basis that they like to send their members to.
And our membership for Frontier Country, that's taken out of the marketing supplies budget.
Correct.
So basically, this $205,000 total, less the parks and lakes, is what this committee has to
Yeah.
deal with.
Correct.
So going back to the Lazy E, you said that's a 10-year contract?
Sorry, that's a $10,000
$10,000,
annual
okay.
contract.
When does the year start? October 1st?
We started it October 1st, correct, with in
So
line
that's
with
the
our
first
budget.
payment.
Yes.
For the first quarter?
Yes.
Is this the second year?
This
Or is
will be
this
the
the
third
third year?
budget year that
So
we
what
do
do we
this.
get for that?
We get space at Lazy E events, whether they are programmed through Lazy E or outside vendors.
Okay.
We also get marquee signage,
Like what?
like inside the arena. There is a
Okay.
billboard inside the arena. Again, the ground space for if we were to pass out flyers or brochures to their event stakeholders, those kinds of customers, that kind of thing. And then we also are listed on their website as a community partner.
So have we ever used that space
Yes,
in
we
any
have.
capacity?
I'd probably say the largest footprint that we had was, of course, Little Britches this past July 4th.
So maybe I should be addressing you now.
No, yeah.
Sorry about that. But am I seeing that the budget then is $112,500 basically versus $115,000 for 2016?
Correct. Part of the transfer to general fund that you see, that fund balance that we have, one of the reasons that that is so high, it's not as high as what it actually looks like. We had an early payment. Of course, I think most of us know that the Best Western is now the America's Best Value Inn. Best Western went ahead and submitted their payment for what was due October 15th. They actually submitted that in September, and so it hit the previous budget instead of the current budget because we start back all over on October 1st. So it's not as high. We're really working on about a $7,600 fund balance in all reality, and that's that's close to what we wanted. Obviously, we wanted to reserve just in case we had any emergencies to end the year, but we do have a little bit of funds transferring over.
Now, if sales tax continues to take a dive, how's that going to affect these numbers?
Our sales tax has been fairly steady compared to the rest of the communities in central Oklahoma. I just think that they're different animals. Truthfully, I think that consumer spending versus consumer traveling don't always relate. We saw a major hit in oil and gas to where it hit our hotel motel fund before it ever hit our sales tax, probably at least 12 months later.
And we're funded by hotel motels.
Right.
Hotel motel, not sales.
Not sales tax. Any other questions on the budget?
I guess I expected the hotel motel numbers to be up versus prior year, just with more hotels.
Yeah, I don't think that more rooms necessarily means more revenue right now. And I know that I'm not the subject matter expert on that one, but I am glad that we have a hotelier present to kind of speak to that.
I would say I am 20% below last year
Okay.
to date.
Okay.
And when you think of that, that's a big chunk,
Yeah, it is.
a very big chunk. Because La Quinta's opened a year ago. And the Hampton, I guess, is opening, what, next month?
I think so.
Pretty close, so.
Thanks.
I don't think that new rooms always means new
Yeah.
revenue, unfortunately. So excited for the
Capacity for it.
excited for the message that it sends to
The
I-35.
economy has made a turn.
Sure.
Yeah, the economy does,
Energy business.
not as much energy, just overall.
All right. Item number 7, discussion of event support funds.
Yeah, to make this pretty brief, staff does a lot of work with the advertising and the marketing, but what we like to see is kind of a more open environment, which we talk about supporting events. And so we bring event requests to you to vote on to where do you want to support, what events do you want to support in town, what new events or existing events. And so that's actually going to lead right into the next 2 items, is just the fact that we have an event request form that you've actually seen with the Territorial Christmas and another rodeo event. And they're making submission, and we're following up on that. So just kind of an open conversation about how and which events are funded most fairly. So we require a follow-up. Unfortunately, we haven't seen that from everyone to date. Territorial Christmas did provide their follow-up last year after receiving funding. And so one of our things that we put in the packet is that if you don't submit that follow-up, you're actually acknowledging that you won't be eligible for funds in the future. So we're very appreciative that Territorial Christmas did do this follow-up and are submitting for the 2nd year in a row. So just kind of a brief rundown of kind of an overview of, I guess, your next 2 agenda items.
We have Territorial Christmas and Rising Star. We have someone here from Rising Star. We'll just move that up, and that way we can go ahead and discuss that while he's here, and he doesn't have to sort of sit here any longer than he has to. So the second item, skipping item number 8 this current time, to go to 9, and we'll come back to 8. So this is for a roping event? Is
Yes,
that-
sir.
Okay. And this will be held at the Lazy E Arena? Is that this location? Okay.
Yeah, do you
And
want
you
to
traditionally, I read in here, you've been, your last event was in Duncan. Is that your traditional place to hold it? Have you held it in Guthrie before?
This is the first time it's ever been in Guthrie.
Okay.
We actually started this event in 2002.
What is your name?
Chris Neal.
Chris.
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. We started this event in 2002 in Ada, Oklahoma. And we held it there for 6 years. And we moved it to Duncan, Oklahoma in 2008. And we were there for 8 years. And this will be our first year in Guthrie. And we've actually signed a 3-year contract with the Lazy E, so this is our new home. And we look to not move again is our goal.
Is that every Thanksgiving or?
Yes, sir, every Thanksgiving, yes. It's tradition with family, and we've been doing it for Thanksgiving weekend for, I think, 12 of the 15 years now.
Do you know your average attendance?
Total attendance, not just contestants,
Right.
around 5,000.
How many contestants do you have? And you may have that on here, I'm just not seeing it offhand. I just see your 5,000.
Last year we had 724 total contestants, and we look to guarantee over 1,000 this year. And that's just contribute to the move and the facility at Lazy E, being able to add and create new events that we weren't able to in the past, the facility. That's the reason we made our move the first couple of times, is we just pretty much outgrew the town and the facility where we were at to accommodate all the people coming in.
What's the age group of the folks that is?
We have several age groups. It's basically 19 and under, but we break it up into 3 divisions. It's a 12 and under division, boys and girls, 13 through 15 age, and then a 16 to 19. And we also, it's mainly a kid-related event, but we also do have it open to the world too. So your NFR, PRCA type caliber will be here, as well as WPRA, and it's actually co-crewed with the WPRA. We have an open ladies breakaway with the event and a American qualifier. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with the new one-day rodeo in Dallas, the $1 million one-day American. We have a qualifier for that, and there's only a certain amount of those throughout the year, and we're one of them.
Which is a big draw.
Yes, sir.
So how many hotel rooms do you have secured?
Right now, really don't.
Okay. How many do you expect that you need?
That's a tough question because it's so difficult to know where our people stay and go. And even though we try to request a special rate, mention you're with Rising Stars, a lot of times they call and book, or grandma and grandpa call and book
Sure.
for the kids, and they just
Don't ever say.
don't ever say.
Do they stay in the hotels, or do they bring their trailers? and
Well,
can't camp out at?
They do
E or-
both. They do both. We will have a large group that will camp out at the Lazy E and stay there, but we do also have a trade show with this event, so we have a lot of shopping and vendors out there. And it's really normally been very good because it is 30 days right before Christmas, and so all of those vendors will obviously get rooms and stuff, and then the parents and grandparents that come will get rooms, and so
We're talking food vendors as well out there, right?
no food vendors. No, it's just shopping.
Okay.
The only, because Lazy has their own concession contract for the year. Now, we are catering in. They are letting me, because it's tradition for our event, because we do start on Thanksgiving Day, we provide a Thanksgiving meal, and we're doing it in the cantina, and we're actually catering it from Stacy's Place from here in Guthrie. Yeah.
And what do you charge for admission?
It is $10, and that is for the entire weekend. We have these wristbands right here that we do, and they say Cinch is one of our title sponsors, so Cinch, Rising Stars, and our Oak Ridge Equine, the vet clinic that's down the road from Lazy E. They sponsor our wristbands, and it's $10 to get in the gate, and whether you're there for one day or all 4 days, it's a weekend pass basically. You have to have it to get in and out.
Your budget's pretty, $287,000, and you're requesting the $5,000. The $5,000 you're requesting for us, what's that for the benefit of? Is that specifically what are you wanting to use that money for?
Well, we will use it for several things. Just help advertising, help all of my staff and everything I have to require, I have to put those up in a room. That's on top of what I have budgeted there to pay our employees, our budget for our staff. So if we have to purchase hotels, there's lots of places that can be used.
That's what this line item is here on the $2,500 for the hotels, is that what that's for?
That's kind of the budgeting for us to spend. And we try, and one of the most difficult things with the whole event, as far as me as the producer and the owner, is to get, we have like 40 employees to staff and run the event for the weekend, and they come in from all over, so I have to put them all in a room. And so we've tried to get have host hotels designated and get just 2, 3, 4, whatever we can. 3 to 5 normally is our comp rooms from our hotels that are involved. And we put we run them a nice ad in our program for the weekend. We put them on our website where our contestants can go and enter this event. And they can enter online with a debit card and credit card, or they can mail a check in, but it is a pre-entry event by November 7th. And so we try to drive them to our host hotels and put the address and the phone number and the rate and all that kind of stuff on there for the hotels that are involved, and put a banner in the arena and PA announcements throughout the weekend. We try to do all we can to push people to who supports us.
So how much is an entry fee?
An entry
for
fee?
testing?
It varies. The 12 and under division, the entry fees are $175. The 13 to 15 age group, they're $200. And the older, 16 to 19, are $250. Now, the open division for our all-star, for our open to the world, our men, the fees for that are $600.
Since you've been in Oklahoma since what, 2000, how has weather affected this event? Since I seem to remember we had a heck of an ice storm in Guthrie last year that literally shut the town down.
Yeah.
We've been pretty blessed in the past. I think in our 15 years we've only had maybe 2 or 3 bad Thanksgivings, I would say. And I believe last year was one of them. We had a lot of contestants from Kansas that couldn't get to us because of the ice storm up around Colby, Kansas on the Colorado border. So we did have some turnout, draw out. And like I said, that's only happened maybe 2 to 3 times over our 15 years. So normally it's, knock on wood, it's pretty nice in Oklahoma still in November.
So you just move forward with the people that show up? I mean, if
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't cancel the
No,
event.
never. I mean, we might, and when
I
I
wouldn't
when I
recommend
say
it,
that,
but-
I'm saying
Yeah.
25 of our 725 didn't show up.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
turn, that's a
Yeah.
big, I mean, normally we may have 4 not show up.
Okay.
So we had 20 last year.
Cody, when we're looking at the 31,000 we have to spend, we've got 6,000 we allotted for a new event for town. So we've got 25 other. Now that 25 is also what we're utilizing to feed 89ers, Christmas,
Red Brick Nights.
Red Brick Nights, Art and Wine, Bluegrass.
Red Brick Nights did not hit this account last year.
No, it did not.
It was done
But
a
it
lot
was
all donations.
through donations and our admin fee.
Okay.
Is Little Britches in that amount as well,
Yes,
allotted,
yes.
So that
They're
comes out.
eligible for.
if they apply?
I'll tell you, I got a application this morning, so obviously too late for the agenda today.
Yeah.
For
But they
a new
intend
event.
to, they
Yeah.
intend to do, yeah.
So how many events was that we've got now? We're gonna do the
Well,
question.
there's the 4 or 5 that just happen every
Happens
year.
Right, we have bluegrass,
Right.
Yeah.
the art,
Art and Wine,
Yeah.
89ers,
the
Christmas.
89er,
Victorian
Christmas,
Walk.
Victorian.
Well, that's
okay.
Christmas.
So what
Is
do
that
we have
the same?
left?
Yeah, Christmas.
Yeah, no, it's
That might have to
essentially.
increase the budget.
And then we got Little Britches now.
Cody, was our territorial last year 2,000?
No, we funded it
We,
for the full, for the Christmas lights.
But
I
fought for that hard,
just
yeah.
noticed.
How much
It
was
was
it?
$8,000. It was $8,000.
6 or 8.
Something like
I
that.
want to say it was the 8.
I just didn't know where that number was coming from.
And guys, I apologize. I tried looking up that information. I am down personal laptop and work laptop right now, so I was a little bit limited through my phone today, but I tried looking that up just
I know
to
it was
verify, but it was
James, how much was it last year?
We did 8 for Christmas.
For Christmas.
Because it goes to lighting that,
Designated the lights.
lighting that
Which
tree.
was gorgeous, by the way.
Does that include like renting for any equipment and stuff they use? or-
We provided the 8,000 to the Christmas committee, and it was for the use
Everything.
of lighting the tree. Now, what their actual
Use is what you know
invoice
about.
was, I just know based off of my own personal, having trees wrapped in light,
it was
it's
8,000.
expensive.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
remember 89 is
And I-
that for?
I believe we gave them I want to say we only gave them $3,000.
Who's that?
We gave them $2,000?
I think
Two,
Two
okay.
89ers?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think too.
So yes, for event support, it is limited. It's very competitive, but also that's kind of what we've wanted to see is who's actually going to do the follow up and kind of do everything that they said that they would do as part of the event application and provide us that data afterwards as
And
well.
we had a long discussion about who we wanted to support,
Mhm.
so.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to make a decision on this, on
Absolutely.
Rising Star,
Right, we're
at this
still-
meeting.
Yeah.
We're still on
Yeah,
Rising
But we're
Stars
gonna have
right
to make
now.
that at this meeting.
Yes.
Now,
Your
we can-
events, your events in November. So I know that we've typically used kind of how you're going to use these funds as advertising, as a little bit of a measuring rod. Putting it in his hands with 10 days to advertise wouldn't be necessarily advantageous on our part, I don't think.
Can we just, since we have a hotel guy in the room, can we use the budget money for hotels and not to exceed $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever we
Yeah, we
decide
can
worth
just-
of,
we
worth
can-
of hotel rooms?
We can recommend what they use the money we
And
could,
just
Yeah,
transfer?
you just
it?
can't dictate where
yeah.
to
Which
spend the
hotel?
money as
Oh,
at
okay.
which hotel.
Conflict, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
But
okay.
we could designate that we would request that the money we,
A previous rodeo event requested $5,000. They walked away with $2,000, and it was an idea that you had to use all of that $2,000 for $2,000, and it would actually be a reimbursement for your advertising. So you had to provide the receipts. So we've done
Okay.
we've done all
Yeah.
sorts of different arrangements.
Well, I'll be honest, I would probably be more apt to do it in a reimbursement of marketing rather than just cash for anything else. And I don't see that we could give the full 5, just simply because we've got too many, well, we've got too many other events and activities that we do sponsor and want to continue to sponsor. Know that we have also Red Brick Nights that didn't come out of this budget
Right.
that we're going to
May.
want to contribute. Well, I know that
May.
they're
Yeah.
going to fill out a form, so.
Yeah.
That's what I would recommend, is what I'm thinking, if we were to, you have 7,000 spent on advertising.
And that's already next, yeah.
So, on these items that we're looking at, have they all been spent? Or
No.
just yet?
No, not all. I'm just saying, like, this is just one example. Here's our current ad on one magazine that we've ran. We've been running for the last 3 or 4 months in all of these magazines across the.
do you typically go to the Ada and Duncan, do you go to their convention visitor bureaus and request?
Where I've been in the
Something
past?
past?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have.
Do you do any conversion tracking on your ads to see where you're getting the most benefit from?
Yeah, we have, and we cut it down to about 3 major magazines. National High School Rodeo Association is one that we run with, and then this Cowboy Times and Rodeo News. There are, and this Rodeo News is the one that designs all of our ads, and they do a lot of that. They have a huge online reader, and we do like a 55,000 magazine circulation per month just with this one magazine right here. So they kind of help me keep numbers on where we're spending our money, if it's actually doing us any good, if that's what you're asking. Yeah.
I'm just curious, at what point did you go to Edmond and get sponsorship? Because I see Edmond's on here for this.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously John Vance is a sponsor.
Yes. That was from my spring event that I moved here
Okay,
in May for the first time.
okay.
Is how, actually the lady that I had worked with in the past in Duncan, where we moved from, knew Kathy Williams from Edmond.
Okay.
And when we transferred up to here, that's how I got in contact with her. And then John Vance. You know, I just started working the area as far as that.
Cody, can I ask another question?
Just-
How much do we give to Bluegrass?
We gave 2,000 this year,
How much do we give to the arts?
2,500.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion then, that following along the chairman's line, that up to $2,000 reimbursable expenses, and can I designate it towards hotels? Or not?
As long as you get a second, you can.
Well, here's the
Or-
thing, I'll be honest with you, we can't designate what hotels they spend it at, and I don't
Okay.
wanna spend it on Edmond hotels. So,
No.
so I would much rather see it
But
spent
we
on
can-
advertising, where
Okay.
at least we're known for marketing,
Marketing.
where people are coming here, and we hope that we get it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Can I ask a question, or are you gonna put this, 2 questions, Mr. Chairman, or, because my question is, can they take funds that they've already invested in advertising and use that as receipt? I mean, or are you asking for them to provide a receipt of advertising spent from this day between now?
I don't know that advertising spent from now till Thanksgiving would even be worth.
How's it
beyond
promoting Guthrie?
So, I mean, he's
Well,
already
it's
spent
here.
$5.
It's here.
That's
No, it's lazy. No, it's
As long as we
lazy.
provide, yeah, then we
It's
can.
really not making an impact anyway.
Yeah, it's not making an impact on us.
The advertising.
Here's one of the, I don't know, these are the, we mailed out over 1,000 of these that go to
I do
all our
want to
investors.
just-
Mailed that,
It's
how
just
many?
weird
Over
that-
1,000.
Okay.
You know, with Guthrie and Lazy on here. We had 29 states in Canada last year, so they do come from all over. So that is, we mail all those out.
So I think one of the challenges that we all have to deal with is how in the heck do we, you know, this is a first time deal for him, but how do we measure the impact on our community? How do we measure the impact on sales tax? How do we measure the impact on the hotel motel? And it's not just his event, all of the events. And developing some kind of metrics, not just for what people that are in town, but what they're also doing when they get to town. And I think that's a critical element that we all need to come up with and work on. And, you know, the ad in the book gets them to the area, gets them to the Lazy E. How do we get them into this town? We're competing with that. What kind of ads are in there? I know I haven't seen your orange thing there, but you know, obviously down the road, it would be good to have specifics about things to see and do in Guthrie, America, and to get them from the Lazy E over here and get them to spend their money in our town, which is
Although we can't
Oh,
designate where they spend the money towards hotel, could we designate or put the stipulation that it has to be a Guthrie hotel?
We can.
So if we make that stipulation, I think at least we've done our part to try to get them to Guthrie.
One thing I'd like to say, first of all, whether you give me $5 or $5,000, if it comes from Guthrie, I'll not spend it in Edmond. I'll just say that up front. From here on out, I would not have partnership of any kind of that way.
Well, we understand that you're looking to them for sponsorships as well. I mean, and Lazy E is a great middle ground. I mean, fortunate for us, it's a Guthrie address, but it is split in the middle between Edmond and Guthrie. And there's great hotels on 2nd Street, and there are great hotels on Highway 33. We just want to fill up 33 for personal reasons before we fill up 2nd Street.
Right.
So if we could make that stipulation.
I do have, and I hate to keep saying, I do have, that is a great question, what you had right there, and I will make one suggestion that the town of Duncan did the first year we ever moved there 8 years ago. We were the only new event for that specific weekend for Thanksgiving, and I don't know how they did this, but they ran the numbers on their tax for Thanksgiving weekend from the previous year before we were there, And then they did their sales tax, and I know that's Friday to Good Friday or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, they done it when we were the only new event in the town, and their numbers were astronomical. I'm talking like 1.2 million or something. It was crazy how much more they did the first year we were there, and we were the only new event. So if there is a way, obviously we weren't here last year. If you knew what you did that weekend last
Yeah.
year, and then
That's
you
easy
could
enough
compare
to
it,
track.
Kind of
Traditionally, like Thanksgiving is a very
pretty
slow.
slow.
Yes.
Exactly, and that's another reason why they love this.
Well, our main
Because,
concern is we're very competitive, or Edmund is very competitive to us.
Mhm,
And-
Lazy is smack in the middle.
right, but everyone associates.
I think that's to
We
Chairman
have-
Long's point is that I don't know that Duncan has an Edmond, Oklahoma breathing down their neck.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
True.
yes, it can work out really well for Duncan. That does not mean that it's going to be replicable here.
Right.
And that's just,
I'm just
The
going back
facts that
for
we
to
said.
keep
No,
to
I
keep
totally
track.
I
totally
If we
understand.
wait,
To make a
if we wait till this year
Right.
and have it, then it's too late to track it. I'm just
Right.
saying that's one of those things you have to do this very first year to know the impact that we make.
so do we have a motion?
I would make the motion that we will reimburse them not to exceed $2,000 for hotel expenses in Guthrie.
I'll second that motion.
All right, the motion is reimbursement not to exceed $2,000 for hotel expenses in Guthrie. Motion was made and seconded. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion will carry. Thank you, Mr. Neal.
This is
Thank you.
after the thought, or after the fact thought, but what local advertising, you show your books here, but what local advertising do you anticipate doing with the Daily Oklahoman, with radio, what
We,
things?
we have done some of that in the past, and it's mainly all rodeo related from all the different associations that are involved.
So you
So
get-
you just.
It's
you leave-
family oriented.
You leave the
basically.
Lazy E to do their part to get people to the event. I mean, they will, I'm guessing, advertise to get people to their event that weekend.
Sure.
Depends how they contracted.
Right. Right.
Now, does the same thing that you were talking about earlier apply with him as well? If we can get follow-up on the event and different
Yes.
things like that, then he can come back next year and present to us and.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's kind of what, bred this was kind of that hunger from these events. Are they going to be coming back? What information can they share with us from the very get-go
So
to
we know
help
we've
shape
got a
our
3-year
decision next
contract.
year? Yeah.
I know these all work different. I'm just curious to know. One time, and I don't even remember, I think it was Shawnee, where I was trying to get some funding, and I told them I was gonna spend it back in the town with the hotels, and they denied me because of that. They didn't want me to take their hotel motel tax money and then turn right around and spend it at the hotels. And I didn't understand that. Do y'all? I know
Local
everyone.
politics everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it just
they
changes
were like,
from town to
why
town."
would we just give you that money and then if you're gonna turn around and spend it with our hotel? And I thought that would be a good thing. I put that on our application. They're like, well, we don't want you. So anyway, I'm just
Thank you, Mr.
curious.
Neal.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Wish you a great event.
Yeah.
And no ice storm.
Yes.
We need it for that weekend.
All right, let's go switch back to item number 8, which is Territorial Christmas. They're asking for the 8,000 for support of their event. Looks like, I'm sure that it is for the lighting of the tree, I believe.
Yes.
And the remaining funds to be used for advertising, I believe I saw.
Well, there won't
Correct.
be many remaining funds after.
No, it'll
the
take,
tree.
it'll take,
I'll take most of that, or if not more.
I don't know how many strands of lights are on that tree. I just know the strands of lights for my house, what that cost me. And so to wrap my trees, and I don't go up near as high as they do, nor do I. That's a statement, so I'm sure it's $8,000. Do you have any other comments in regards to anything else that they've shared? Or anything else in regards to the lights, Cody, that isn't on here that they may have shared with you?
I do. For the new members, I just want to kind of let you in on a situation that we came up on last year, and it was kind of an idea to tie back to those tourism drivers in the community, the hotel or the museums, the events, those kinds of things. Territorial Christmas did not have a large membership due at that time. They were actually one of the lowest on the scale. And I think that it was the hopes of this committee to say, okay, we recognize that you were on the low end of the scale, but you are a major tourism driver. We'll recognize you in your event request. So I'm not trying to shape anyone's minds. I'm just trying to provide a little bit of history moving forward. Mayor?
Well, I think you need to, expand that dialogue so that they understand that there was a subscription sponsorship component of funding and then a special event component of funding. I don't
Correct.
think that they all
And
understand
we all
that.
said that all events would be eligible. Now, museums, galleries didn't necessarily have events that they were putting in for specifically, but a lot of the people that were behind the museum efforts and the gallery efforts obviously had a major part in our local events as well. So just kind of a recognition, like the mayor said, kind of a membership dues type recognition effort from there.
Well, I'd just like to make a motion that we give them the money to designate towards the lighting of the tree.
I second it.
The full request.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Motion was made to approve for $8,000, made and seconded. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
All right, next item, discussion on possible action, I'm sorry, we did that one, already did 9. 10, discussion of future items.
This is where committee members can talk about an agenda item that they want on the next month's agenda. This would be November. We've obviously taken a little bit of a lull with some activity that happened towards the end of the summer, but we did have a request for Jason Smedley to talk about the data and the analytics behind the Red Brick Nights, and so that didn't make it to this one just because it was already a heavy agenda. And we're doing a lot more introductions to kind of the process for this board, so I'd be more than happy to put it back on there and invite him back as a guest speaker next month.
I'll be here.
But this is just your time to request items for the next agenda.
Well, I do know, and right along with Red Brick Nights, I know that Justin Fortney is putting together an item request. Justin Fortney, Hetty Coleman, and myself have all met, being that we're the ones that organized Red Brick Nights this last year, and what we wanted to see for 2017, and wanted to carry along with making sure that we had the event May through September.
Oh, yeah.
No, because
so
October
was-
1st,
yeah,
we
Bluegrass, yeah.
we really feel that maintaining the same weekend
I think so.
keeps the consistency. We know that it's not going to interfere with Herd on Herd because they maintain their same consistency. And so we don't have any other events that's going to conflict with that we're already ongoing. And so we think people that came this year were already trained. It's the first Saturday of the month. So we wanted to keep
I
that
think
going.
that's a wonderful
And so
idea.
so it'll just be 5 instead of 6, which I think that'll be fine, being May through September. With the hopes again, and I know that he's very eager to do so, with the first Saturday of the month being the weekend that we would do fireworks, so that we would have another large event downtown. So I know that he's putting together, and I know that he's getting that information that you sent in regards to the data, so we can see that on what that request would be. We're looking at doing corporate sponsorships, although this last year was primarily funded by the city of Guthrie, but we did have a few corporate sponsors that did put in, John Vance being one of those, and James Gallant with Long Hair Repair being one of those. And so we're looking at getting a smaller portion from the city this year, but bringing in the rears with all corporate sponsors. So we'll have an application, should be by next meeting for that.
Okay.
So
that item will most likely be a discussion and possible action.
yes, as long as Fortney gets the application in. And so we'll have all your statistics in that packet. So it'll be a great time for you to talk about them then.
I want to see advertising and where we're advertising and have a discussion on where this committee feels like we should advertise
Okay.
for all our events.
And I would like to see what the budget looked like for fiscal 2016.
Line item,
Line item,
itemized.
yes.
On where money went,
Yeah.
Yes,
to who it went to,
yes.
Yeah, so we know what's coming in there.
and just know how to compare versus, you know,
What we're gonna
being
have to do for
requested this
fiscal
year.
year.
It just
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we hope we got, just like this gentleman, at least 2 or 3 more coming through the door
Yeah.
asking for money.
I mean,
That's
you're
what we
hoping
want.
for new events,
You know,
obviously,
we're
so.
looking for new
And
events.
then, did Bluegrass and the art show come out of the last fiscal year? Did they get their requests in time?
They came out of last fiscal year, so they still have, they're still within the 30-day notice of getting their reports back to
Okay,
us.
okay, but they've, okay, so
They've
that's-
not applied for this year's.
No, but that's not something that they didn't turn in time that
No.
we now have to, okay,
No.
okay.
The locals have done a really great job of respecting those rules, and so we're very appreciative of that. Mayor?
Well, I think in an ideal world, you would be able to look at all of the events that you're going to try to sponsor over the next 12 months, and then say, okay, that adds up to X number of dollars, and we have usually X minus that.
Right.
And be able to make a decision on the whole body of work, if you will. The challenge is, when you have new events that come in, what the heck would you do when
Right.
you've got most of your money already encumbered with the traditional activities?
Right.
I don't know how you keep that balance, because I think you want to try to attract new events and stimulate new events, and yet if you deal with them one by one, it really becomes a real big challenge.
Yeah.
Now, the gentleman said he had an event in what, May or March?
Spring.
Spring?
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't sort of come to us then? for anything.
Correct.
And I think, the reason why I said no is I have the hardest time giving money to someone that's a for-profit
Yeah,
organization.
well, I read that as well.
And so I just have a hard time doing that. But I'm not saying that it's not a great event. I'm not saying that it doesn't bring people to town. And I'm not saying that maybe he's not deserving of it. For me personally, I just have a hard time giving money to a for-profit
Well, for me, it's,
coordinator.
he doesn't have enough time to promote us.
Well, I think he's.
Well, I think he already has
I
been.
think he's a
Well,
little, he's a little late coming.
Yeah, a little
Just
late
like coming to here,
Yeah.
yeah.
Coming here.
I think he's been promoting his event. It's just,
Yeah.
he's like
Well,
getting
you
to
look at
us.
these ads, it really, it says Guthrie on the Lazy E address.
Well,
Besides that, there's
The only
nothing
thing I
there.
got is
It's
that if
50-50
he
maybe.
did the spring event at Lazy E, and it was a success, why wasn't he coming sooner for his
Yeah.
fall event, would be my only.
So right now we have planned discussion for Red Brick Nights, but we're kind of expecting that to be an event request. Discussion on advertising, where we're going. I'm going to leave it, Ms. Cordes, a little bit open. I know that you
Yeah,
had
that's fine.
specifically set events, but I think that we can have a little bit more of a broader discussion.
On the
So,
advertising, you'll absolutely.
and then a fiscal year itemized budget from last year, just kind of saying where we spent our money.
Yeah.
And if you could actually have it for the last 2 years so we can see
Yeah.
where it went from 2
But
years ago
there's-
to last year to what we're gonna try to do with it this year, that'd be even better.
That's excellent.
Well, not only where it went, but what's the return on that investment?
Yeah.
Getting back to the metrics
Yeah.
that James and Jason are very good with,
Mhm.
but trying to figure out how we can get those metrics so that we know
Yeah.
that if you invest $2,000 and you got X amount coming back and $5,000 and it wasn't X, then you need to rearrange the books, even though historically maybe you've given 5.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's too early to ask for feedback from the OSU tourism study or not.
Okay.
They just went out. They're not back here.
We have around 30 that we've received so far. So still minimal, but
Of how many went out?
progress. I think their entire box was about 1,500. We gave out roughly 80% of the box.
I would like to know too,
But that was also, 10 days after the event. So, they could still be coming in.
when we find out, I think as far as metrics, being able to see if we give him $2,000 for hotels and he only spends one, you'd think he'd try to spend the full 2,000.
Yeah.
But then can we figure out where those people are from? who stayed in those hotel rooms, to know where they're from? I'd like to know that,
Okay.
if we can. I mean,
That should be
That's
pretty
something
easy.
easy for you guys to do.
Because then, because he's gonna pay for them, so then we know who stayed in the motels, and they could just give us their zip code or whatever. The motel's gonna provide that.
so for him to get the reimbursed for the hotels, is he gonna provide the receipt or the photo? I mean, how does that?
Yeah, we'll.
Because otherwise it's gonna be, I mean, he's probably gonna reserve it all under his, if he's doing it for his employees.
We'll require who stayed where
Okay.
and where they're from.
Do you think we should visit this application to be only for nonprofits?
I've said that in the
Everything
past, but I
has
think
to.
I got turned down on that.
Because so far, I don't think we have.
Well, some of his numbers, he said about the wristband, and he's got an $800 expense here.
Huh?
The wristband, he said they were sponsored by two vendors, so it's got $800 here. Like insurance, he only has $400, that's not quite there.
Little britches. is
You would think it'd be quite really
Which is, I believe, is for
Yeah.
profit.
Oh, are they?
I don't
Okay.
believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
So I'm with you on that, but I was shot down 2 years ago on that, or a year
I
ago.
think we need to visit that again.
It's an option
Okay.
on there for them.
It's gonna go back on the discussion on the
Yeah, we need
agenda.
to,
That went right past me.
What's
Me
that?
too.
oh, I've seen that, I've seen that.
He listed it.
Yeah, it's on there.
I mean, it
Yeah,
went past
I didn't even,
That goes well.
I'm glad you answered that because I was going to ask you.
And that was the only reason, I mean, really why I said no.
We've got a good November meeting scheduled. Any other future items?
So staff comments?
Thank you all very much for volunteering and being a part of this group. I'm really looking forward to the next current fiscal year, working alongside you. Thank you. Thank you to Mr. Long for stepping up as board chair.
Any board comments?
I'm looking forward to a very positive future for Guthrie, working with this board.
Anything we can do to put more feet in town, more footsteps in the town, I'm all for it.
Or wheels.
Or wheels. Or old wheels.
All right. I don't have any comments. No other comments? Do you have any comments?
No, sir.
All right, I motion to adjourn.